Jai Hind to all. Myself Shikha Agarwal, Assistant Professor in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. So today we are going to discuss the next topic of PPS. When we talk about the PPS here, we are going to discuss about the introduction to software, compiler, linker and loader. Because as soon as we start the concepts of programming, before that we should know what all the basics we require. Fine. So before we start with the concept of software, hardware and so on, first of all we should know what do you mean by the term machine language. As we all know that machine can only understand the concept of binary digits, that is ones and zeros, or the computer will read the data that is in the form of bits. Fine. So then we can say it is known as a machine level language. When I'm talking about a machine language, it is a collection of binary digits. When I'm using the word binary digits in the form of 0 and 1. So, and the bits that can be computer reads and interprets. Basically, it is a low level language and all the instructions are written in the form of 0 and 1. When I'm talking about the machine level language, this is only the one language which can be easily understandable by the computer, because it's a computer language, I can say. When I'm talking about the machine level language, whatever the data or the instructions is being referred, then we are talking about as a machine code, or you can say it is also known as an object code. Basically, machine language is that language which can be communicated directly with the computer. When I'm talking about the machine language, there are basic certain advantages and disadvantages. Its advantages is that their computation speed is very fast. Why? Because it is very close to the computer. It will be directly understandable by the computer machine. So the calculation will be very fast. It will not be a time consuming. Then after that, when I'm talking about its disadvantage, as the computation speed is very fast, so on the basis of that, we can say writing a program is very time consuming, because whatever the codes we have to write it should be always written in the form of binary digits or in the form of bits. So due to which it is require a time. Then I am talking about the error. Error correction is tedious in the process. Why it is? Because once we are writing the data in the form of digits, in the form of binary bits, so it would be very difficult to find the particular error into the system. When after that, the next language is known as assembly language. When I'm talking about the assembly language, this is also a very low level language. Why? Because it is also somewhere related to the machines, but they are written more in the form of symbolic codes. In the form of symbolic codes, which is also known as mnemonics. Right? When I'm talking about the symbolic codes, like for example, if we want to do the addition, so what we are writing is plus symbol we are using. For example, if we want to write like addition, so A plus B. This is the way generally what we are able to easily understand. But in the assembly language, we are more moving towards the symbolic notations. So due to which we are using the symbolic codes. For example, add for addition, for subtraction, mul for multiplication and so on. Second thing, when I'm talking about the assembly level language, it is specifically a particular computer architecture in which when I'm talking about the machine level language, it is converted into executable machine codes. Fine. Because when I am talking about the single understandable language of the human being, it would be very difficult for the system to understand. So in between, we are having a machine level language, which is being converting the given source code into the executable machine codes. And whatever the utility is being required for that particular program, that is referred to as an assembler. Fine. So this is all about the assembly language. When I'm talking about the assembly language, again, there are certain advantages and disadvantages of a particular language. When I'm talking about the assembly language, it is easier to understand as compared to the machine codes. As you can find, for example, if you want to write A. So when I'm writing A into the machine level language, it will be written in the form of binary digits, right? But when I'm talking about machine codes, or you can say assembly language, if we want to do the addition of A and B, it would be like into this case, add A comma B. So in comparison to these codes, right? So it would be easily understandable. In this, it is very easy to locate a particular error, or we can easily rectify those errors easily. When I'm talking about its disadvantages, there is one disadvantage of a machine level language is that it is dependent on a machine codes. So similarly, like an assembly language, similarly like a machine level language, it is also a machine dependent. Programmers should have a proper knowledge of the hardware. They cannot write into their own native languages, so they are having a proper knowledge of their hardware devices. The last is your high level language. When I'm talking about the high level language, high level is that programmable language that can be enable for a programmer so that they can write their programs more or less dependent on a particular machine. So basically it is a particular independent type of a system. Machine is being, language is being working in a independent manner. Somewhere a high level language is very close to the human languages. Why? Because it is very easy for the human beings to read and write. So that is why we can say high level languages are closer to the human language. Or generally when I'm talking about the high level language, it uses the English words or mathematical notation so that we can easily rectify the things in a user friendly manner. For example, in the case of assembly language, you are writing add A comma B. So similar statement in the case of high level language is being written as A. Here we are using a mathematical notation, that is addition, and we have to add the data. There are certain examples of the particular high level languages is like C, C++, Java. Whatever the syllabus we are covering into this subject, it is being based on the C programming. So we came to know one point that C is a high level language. Now, when I'm talking about its advantages and disadvantages, the first advantage is it's user friendly. Why it is user friendly? Because it is very easy for the human beings to interact with that language because they are written into the human language itself. Then second is it requires a less time to code, because when the human being is easy to understand the things, then it would be easy for them to do the coding. The next is easier to learn. When I'm using the word easier to learn, it means whatever the things is being written in the human language, it is easier for the human beings to understand. When it is easy to understand, then similarly it is easy to learn as well as it is easier to maintain. But there are certain disadvantages. It is slower than the low level languages, because low level languages are somewhere dependent on a machine or they are close to the machine codes. So that is why it is easy for the system to understand. So it is slower. The second is it always needs a one translator, because human languages are many like English, Hindi, and Bengali, Arabian, British, and so on. So whenever we are talking about their languages understandable, so it is always requires a one translator, so it will be converted into a particular language. So this is the difference between all the three basic languages: high level language, assembly language, and machine level language. When I'm talking about the high level language, all the programs of the languages are easy to understand. When I'm talking about the machine assembly language, they are less understandable than the high level languages, but more understandable than the machine language, right? And here the programs are less understandable because this is not basic human language. So it would be somewhere difficult for the programmers to learn the languages. Second point is, the second difference is programs of these languages are easy to understand, right? The third is programs are portable and machine independent, right? Because they are writing into their own native languages. So we can say the programs are portable. They can easily be converted into the other forms. The programs are machine dependent, and in the case of machine language also, they are machine independent. When I'm talking about the high level languages, in this case, the debugging is very easy, fine. But in the case of assembly language and machine level language, debugging is more complex, or we can say it's difficult. But in the case of assembly language, it is more complex than high level language, but it is somewhere easy than the debugging in the machine level language. Compiler or interpreter are required to translate the programs. Right here we require only the assembler, and here no translation is required. Why there is no translation required? Because whatever the data we have in the form of ones and zeros, so we don't require any translators. When I'm talking about the translator, in the next slides we are going to discuss about compiler, interpreter, assembler, and all the translator tools also one by one. So this is the big difference between the high level language, machine level language, and assembly language. So before we moving towards the compiler, linker, and loader, what it is tools, what all the translators we have. First of all, we discuss what do you mean by the term software. As we know that software is a computer program that includes their logical instructions which is being used for performing a particular task. Whatever the system components like hardware components is assigning a certain task, with the help of the softwares we can easily do the things. It basically talks about the logical instructions which is being used for performing a particular task. When I'm talking about the software, there are the two types of software. The first is system software and application software, right? So when we are talking about the system and application software, you can easily understandable by this term. Suppose first of all, while installing a network, we require a certain hardware devices like CPU, disk, mouse, printer, and so on. Then after that, we have to create that particular environment on which we can execute the system, right? So that is what we are talking about, the system software. So on the basis of that, what do you mean by the system software? System software is a computer programs which is having a power to control or to manage the hardware components of the computer system, right? So system software kya? System software is that. So when into that case, the first what we easy to understand for the first year students is operating system. As we know, without an operating system, we cannot work onto the environment. The second, when we talk about the application software, on the system software, whatever the applications we are running. For example, we are playing games, we are making some Excel sheets, we are working on Microsoft Word, creating some database, internet web browsers, all these things. Whatever the things we are doing onto the system, it means we are talking about the application software. So this particular diagram says application is a subset of system, system is a subset of hardware. So without an hardware, we cannot create a environment on which we can execute the softwares. So this is the definition of the system software as we have already discussed. So under the system softwares, we are going to discuss about these. First is translators. What do you mean by the term linkers, loaders, BIOS, and so on. So next is your application software. When I'm talking about the application software, as we know that system software is a computer program onto which we are managing and controlling all the hardware components, and where we are creating that particular environment so that we can easily understand the things. Then after that, we are having an application software. Application software is that on which we can execute the system software. For example, word processors, spreadsheets, games, etc. and so on. The next, we are having a translator. When I'm talking about the translator, translator is a software that translates any programming language into another programming language. As it is clear from the word translate. Translate says that we can conversion from one mechanism to the another way. So similarly, in the case of system software, it is known as a software that translates the programming language into the another programming language. There are the three types of translators: assembler, compiler, and interpreter. The first of all, we are going to talk about the compiler. When we talk about the compiler, compiler is a special type of a program that translates the given source code, and that particular source code is being written in a high level language, right? And that compiler will target the particular program if there are certain errors is being occurred into the message, it will generate the error messages and send it to the user. And after rectifying those errors, again the program is being compiled. The program will continuously compiling again and again until and the system will become error free. And then it will be converted into the target program. So we can say compiler is a special type of program that translates the source code which is written in high level language, or you can say source language, into the low level language which is known as a target language. The result, whatever the codes is being generated from the source code or a source program to the target language, these codes are known as assembly codes, or you can say these are known as an object code. Basically, these codes are used to create a executable program. The compiler also locates certain errors and syntax messages as it if cannot be fixed by the error by itself. The next is assembly level. Assembler. Assembler is a special program that translates the code written into the assembly language to an equivalent code in machine language. Because assembler, what assembler will do? It will convert that assembly codes which is being given from the high level language into the machine codes, which is known as an executable codes in a machine language. The result is the object file that can be created. The next is your interpretator. When I'm talking about an interpretator, interpretator is a computer software program that directly executes without previously compiling them into the machine language. It will not compile it, it will translate line by line. So interpretator is one which converts the source program and executes it at the same time. It will not compile the previous codes into a machine level language program, but simultaneously after doing the conversion, it will also execute the same and it will translate it line by line. This is the difference between the interpretator and compiler. Interpretator translated the program one statement at a time. As I have already told you, it will execute line by line. So it will translate the one program line one at a time. It will scan the entire program and translate the whole program into the machine codes. It will take less time to analyze the source codes. It will take more time because it is a human understandable language is being given to it. So it will taking the large amount of time. There is no intermediate code is being generated here. Some intermediate code is being generated. It requires less memory. It requires more memory. Here the debugging is easy and here the debugging is comparatively little bit harder in the case of compiler. So before we start the next thing, we should know what do you mean by the term preprocessor. Basically, when I'm talking about the preprocessor is that particular program that preprocesses the source programs according to the preprocessor directives. It always begins with the word hash. For example, hash include. As we have discussed about the C programming in our previous slides, so we have already discussed that we have to write a hash include header files.h, right? So that particular header file says, including the preprocessor, that is hash, it says that we have to include all these header files into our system. Basically, the preprocessors are of two types, macro expansion and file inclusion. So the next we are talking about linker. Linker says it is a particular program that takes one or more objects which is being generated by the compiler and combines into a single executable code. The thing of a linker is that it will execute taking the two or more objects from the generated by the compiler and it will be converted into a single executable code. The next is loader. When I'm talking about the loader, basically loader is an operating system module that load all the files from the secondary storage, whatever is being required into the system to the main memory. Basically, it is a program that takes an input and executable program, load it into the main memory and causes the execution by loading the correct starting address of that particular computer registers. So this is all about the linking and loading. As we know that we are generating the object codes, fine. what is the output of the compiler? When we are converting the particular source code of a program which is being written in a human understandable language, that is high level language, in which we are converting into the object codes. So object code, what is object code? Object code is the output of the compiler and is a binary file having an instructions that were given by the programmer into the source code. Object code is a system architecture specific in which the files is being generated by the compiler at particular one machine that might not work for the other machines with the different system architecture and the system underlying. The next we are talking about the executable codes. As we have already decided that in the case of linking, we are having an executable codes. So executable code is basically the result of linking all the various object codes, modules, files that is being required into the particular program and all the memory requirement of that particular system by the operating system when the program is being executed. That is known as an executable codes. There is a difference between the source code and object code. What do you mean by the term source code? The input program of compiler is known as source code. And in the case of the object code, it is the output program. Whatever the things is being compiled after running the source code, that is in a high level language, and whatever the code is being generated, that is known as an object code. So we can say the compiler output is known as a object code. This can be used in a high level languages and it can be used, it is a machine language code. It is human readable and it is machine readable. So this particular topic is working in a three forms. First is source code, object code and executable codes. Now this is the way how the complete program is being executing after understanding the linker, loader, assembler, compiler, preprocessor concepts. For example, the editor is being working into an IDE environment and writing their own source codes into the high level languages, right? And suppose if I'm working on a C or C++, Java and header files, whatever the files we are including into the whole environment, then the source code is in the form of .c extension, .cpp, .h and so on. Now, after creating that particular environment, the first step is that it will do the pre-processing. When I'm talking about the pre-processing, it means it will include all the header files or all the things which is being interrelated for that particular program. So, into that case, it will include the header files, expand the macros with the extension of .i and .ii. After pre-processing the data, it will enter into the compilation stage. In the compilation stage, what is the role of the compiler? That whatever the codes is being written in the source code, it will be processing that particular data. Then it will be converted into the assembly codes or object code. So that codes are known as assembly codes. So whatever the data is being coming from the source code, it is being converted with the extension of .s. Then after that, we are having an assembler. What is the responsibility of assembler? That it will assemble all the files, linkings and loadings, whatever being required for that particular system. And after assembling it, finally we are converting that codes is known as machine codes. And its extension is .o and .obj, whatever the code is being generated by the machines. Now in the last, it will do all the linking of the files, whatever is being required onto the operating system. And after that, finally it will load all the shared files onto the system, onto the main memory, after fetching it either from the secondary memory or from the that resources all being required to create that particular environment. All the things is being loaded to the CPU, and finally whatever the input was given by the user, it will take that user, load it onto the system of the CPU, and finally we will be receiving to the desired output. Fine. So this is the way how the complete program executes. This is the way how the compiler, linker, loader, assembler, interpreter, all the things is being created, and how all these tools are used to create a particular environment. So these are the certain references which is being required for the programming. So you can refer any of these books so that you can do your things more in a better way. Thank you.